when you became governor, the state was facing a $1.2 billion shortfall. To address this issue, to pay for the tax cuts you proposed in that inaugural address, your first budget called for several controversial measures, including a new way to fund state employee pensions, elimination of several departments, and state employee layoffs. I don't remember how many.
Weren't many. It wasn't very big. I keep
many,
getting accused. I can remember being accused of having decimated the Department of Environmental Protection. I think it was about 15 in the layoff. Our Department of Environmental Protection was bigger than California's at the time, which I thought maybe was a little excessive.
Well, explain him. I can hear,
No, that's
hear
why,
your thought process.
That's why the CWA was protesting me so mightily.
Of course,
that's why they were following me around wherever I went, because of those proposals. But again, we had to do something serious. This was not something that was just passing that you could fix quickly and easily. There were systemic problems with the state and the way the state had been doing business, and we needed to address them, take them on, and try to fix them, which is what we did. And it was painful. Those first 2 years of budgets were just awful, actually. I hated it because the first year's budget was actually less than Jim Florio's last budget, and the year after that was flat. So we weren't giving anybody anything, and if you count for inflation, we were actually still cutting people. And that made a lot of people upset. I mean, for instance, the teachers there was a thing in the teachers that had been done for teachers, and I can't remember, it had to do with Social Security, and I don't know exactly what happened when the federal government changed the way it did some things with Social Security. Because of our tax structure here, the teachers got nicked. And so they were given an extra 5% or 3% to make up the difference. Well, then the feds changed, and they were back being whole against our tax structure, but nobody took away the 3 to 5% or whatever it was. I can't remember now. I think maybe it was 5%. So I said, no, okay, I'm sorry. Now you're whole. You're not at a disadvantage by being in the state of New Jersey. So guess what? This has got to go. It was not popular, which I can understand. I mean, we don't overpay our teachers dramatically anyway. So it was taking something from them, but from the perspective of equity and what was right, that was put in place to make up for something that was unfair. What had made it unfair had gone away, and so it was time to recognize that in the tax structure.
And that story, just what you recounted with the Social Security, I mean, that's a tough story to kind of get out there in terms, it's not simple, it's not A equals...
No, it's not an easy, straightforward thing, it's complicated, and whenever it's complicated, it's very easy to push back, to make it, she's taking things away from me, she's cutting my salary, and you want to say, I'm really not. What I'm doing is rebalancing things to where they were supposed to be. You were always meant to be whole. You were never meant to be at a disadvantage because you were teaching in the state of New Jersey. That now has been addressed, was addressed at the federal level, so there's no need for this extra bit of money to come to you because now it's not doing what it was intended to do.
Was that one of the most vociferous opposition?
Oh, it was very contentious, and the teachers were very upset, and it was difficult. And I learned about the strength of the teachers union in the state of New Jersey. I can't remember whether it was on that or one other thing that we did, whether it was when we were doing core curriculum standards, but at one point I didn't have the home addresses of all the teachers. I had the names of all the teachers and knew what schools they taught in. And so we addressed personal letters to them, but we sent the letters in bulk to the school to be distributed there. We got them back in bulk. And I don't know, from some schools, not from all of them. And I don't know whether I couldn't have said something about tampering with the federal mail or not, but...
Was it difficult to get legislative support for these
those kind of things were harder, but we did it within the budget, so...
Okay, so it was an executive order, you did this all
within the budget.
Yeah. Because they were big changes for that time.
People they were very big.
Governors hadn't tread on those areas at that point.
Yeah.